You know, I would like to do some astrology. As unsuccessful that's been to you. Um, it's next month's astrology. Well, if you want to look at months, I mean, really, it should be by the moons. But we'll talk about the months. I mean, see, we have significant changes. I mean, let alone that the sun goes into Sagittarius on the 23rd of the end of the month here of November. We have a lot moving into Sagittarius. We already have Mercury in Sagittarius. By the end of the month here, it squares my Venus, which is very awkward. I'm glad I've gotten some of my clothes shopping done that I think I need to get done, because you don't want to shop under an affliction to your Venus from Mercury. You're most likely to buy something that doesn't suit you at all. I don't know. I have a problem with it anyway because most of it's just, oh, fuck this conversation. A lot of it's not made in America. We are just wearing things. It's like they are dressing us in, well, if you notice some of the colors, I don't know. Really, I need help. I need personal assistance. I used to have a friend. Boy, this conversation. So much for astrology. I used to have a friend, she was female, who rarely, she lives up here. She lives up here a little bit, whatever. And so she's a little different. But anyway, she just naturally leaned into dressing me. She's like, oh no, look, this will look good on you, and this will look good. I have a pretty good sense of what looks good on me too. But she was really helpful as another kind of offset, she appreciated what I was doing, but then she would add more, because I could get stuck in buying things that looks the same as the last stuff, and it's like, well, why did you buy the old shirt that you always had? And it's because they're selling old shirts that we've always had. It seems like they're all have holes in it. I don't know, why are we wearing the shit that they're giving us that's not made by our friends? It's like, well, who made that? Well, I always think I can make clothes. Like when I find a pair of pants that fits me well, or a cut that I like, what you do is you back engineer it, right? You just take it apart and then start trying to cut it exactly, try to seam it up, find a sewing machine, do it. Stop letting the government or whatever it is, China, dress you. Now that we got that over with, the sign of staunch opinions to the point of, oh my God, I can't believe you just said that, Sagittarius, is coming. Very awkward, those people. They're very smart, by the way, so they always usually just sit there and go, huh? What? You didn't know? That we're all crazy. Anyway, so yes, but see, the main thing that I wanted to talk about, see, we have beautiful Venus in Libra next month's astrology. To try and zero in on this, no matter how much time it takes, man, I'm going to just inch through miserably in this video. Well, needless to say, I'm having the Sagittarius sun is not very easy for me, the one who has Jupiter in Pisces, and then I have Venus in Virgo. That the Sagittarius is, I have to learn. It's like, well, I know you're smart and everything. We're just square to each other. We are in this wonderful mutable square. The mutable squares are so special and how funky and different they really are from one mutable sign to the next. It's Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces. And it has to do with information. It has to do with the gathering of information and the storing, or how it's there in general, really, the experience of the evolution of human consciousness involves the subject matter of what's information. We have an ocean over there, that's Pisces, of all of existential reality floating around, free for your mesmerization. Is it order or is it chaos, is the question. Of course it's order. It's done. It's, in fact, dead. Would you stop looking at it so much? That is not what we get lost in. We get lost in the space. But let's get back to all the mutable details, the information. Yes, the um, coming onto the season of Sagittarius. You know, poor everybody. We have such a thing as Sagittarius, which has gone global with its ability to culture and gather that information out of culture. But here we go. We have religions that we will be concerned about when these planets go into, into the sign of Sagittarius more and more. I mean, we already have the awkward Mercury. Mercury in Sagittarius is not doing too well there. It gets kind of harebrained, as far as I remember, because Sagittarius is a Jupiter ruled. It's ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter, everybody knows, expands whatever it touches, and it's a higher minded, gassy kind of planet. It's the planet of higher mind, which rules Sagittarius, which Sagittarius is a higher minded kind of person. See, it's about information, and Gemini starts with the little labeling of things. It's like, what do we have after Taurus says we have? It's like, well, what is it? You know, all the qualities we're going to start writing down. But so Virgo is like, yes, it's great to have all that quality, but we're now going to refine it into something we can use. I mean, God, could you please not be so scattered, right? The air element of Gemini doing Mercury starts to gather information, and it's like, this is the evolution of human consciousness, by the way, in case you were wondering how it's all working. As a human universe, we have astrology here connected to, if there was a universe holding object matter that is intergalactic, well, there it is, babes, and it's age old. I didn't make this up. God. Maybe just hang with the fact that I may have caught on to something. Age is old and they're doing it. Some people are born this way. And astrology will show it right here. See it? Do you see the planets? It's really easy to understand this. The Sagittarius planets, religious smartasses, you know, they're very well educated, most likely has traveled the world if they're a realized Sagittarius. We're looking at it right here. We're looking at moving into this aggressive stance with Mars is aggressive, so we're going to get it away from Scorpio, babes. I've had the hardest time with Mars and Scorpio. Didn't we all? I mean, did Aries really need to use? Could Aries use that Mars having disappeared behind the Sun in Scorpio? Not necessarily. We already know that we've already been through like a lot of shit already, and then we had to go through more shit with no Mars, with no Mars energy. And that's just a sign. It tells me that's like, well, where's the masculine? Is the divine masculine ever going to emerge now? What goes on there? You know, so we do have. See, I think Mars in Sagittarius is a great thing. You know, I really do. Not so much Mercury in Sagittarius, but we have Mars in Sagittarius at the end of the month here, and it cruised through. And then see, we have this all is going to be squaring Pisces. I mean, yeah, the Saturn in Pisces first, which is like, woo! When see, we have Mars squaring Saturn at the end of the month here, and that tells me that something with the warlock situation, but we're going to learn something. There's going to be a structure created by evidence of coming out of the old cultures. There is subconscious rewiring happening with this activity of attempting a restructure, but an intense look at, if you will, the encyclopedia of a certain culture. Now, I look now when we talk about war. What war do we know of now on this planet? Which is like everybody's getting so biblical about it and lighting up like Christmas, insane asylum trees. About, I was trying to tell you about Israel being the leader in the financial arena, which is conducting a massive deception over the entire planet. With the illusion of shortages and all this stuff, but mainly through I point at the religious, highly religious presence, which is, whew, don't touch that. Good God, Jesus. What was that again? I mean, that picnic. I could think of a better welcome and even sayonara, like whatever happened to Amelia Earhart going to find intelligent life, and she found it, and she just never came back. Obvious there. And was she a bearded woman? We don't know. But it was still a cross that she took off in. Zzz, zzz, bye. The kids love me. Talk about it, babes. We have Sagittarius going on. We're going to talk about these mysterious. There's going to be a riddle made, and we'll hold it inside of an encyclopedia in a library. Boy, the poor kids, how boring that is. Have you ever got a load of a librarian lately? Whew, you can't convince them that they're not the smartest, most informed people in the world just because they sit in a goddamn library, which in fact there isn't a lick of experience that they're getting, except for just crooking their neck down, and their eyes are probably getting badder and badder, because now, I mean, the experience of your mind through books is the same as just the experience of a television through an announcement system. It says blah blah blah. Do you believe it? Everybody does say, "Oh, you just got to read." Well, of course, the mind says you better try to be more real than the fact that I can't be more real than reality and an experience of the truth. You're just going to have to dare to have. At least those last 30 seconds was worth a damn. It's been 12 minutes of this shit. Oh my God. I'm trying to do astrology. We see a religious shadow coming over mankind, which might be able to gain a little bit more structure. If anything, the subconscious structuring can be looked into through the squares to Saturn. We have this first square. The sun is going to be squaring Saturn. If you know any of these incredibly irresponsible people, such as the Sun Square Saturn people, we begin to deal with that energy on Thursday, coming up on the 23rd. See, we're not even getting into next month. But see, yeah, there's a Sun Square Saturn. Merry Christmas, as far as like Happy Thanksgiving on that day, because when we get over here to Christmas, we're having a Neptune aspect. That's like, will you guys please stop? It's a really dangerous time right now, and you're going into tra-la land, la-la land. You don't know that you should never cut down a single tree ever again because of the emergency on the planet with the amount of trees that have been abused out of our existence. Never celebrate cutting down a tree and putting it in your living room ever again. Are you going to go by that? Are you going to make this go viral? No. So just imagine, how behind are we if I'm the leader? Boy, whew. Jesus, you were a leader too? Shh. God, let me see. Really, and then what does it entail? And also, all of a sudden you're like, forget it. You people are stupid. And you're forgiven. Let's take a picture. You're forgiven. Click. Getting back to the structure that's trying to happen over illumination of, well, let's say if there's an aggressive, like, we're going to talk about it, if we're not talking about it now already. Have you heard about Israel? It's happening. We have a biblical thing. It's religious. It's highly religious. Shh, don't say religious 3 times. I will be scrutinized on. It's going to take 35 minutes for this particular video to air. Getting back to, if we ever not talking about it already with Mercury and Sagittarius. Mercury, if you want to learn really quick, is usually the things we would like to talk about. If you want to know what people like to talk about, find out where their Mercury is. Is it in Scorpio? They don't mind talking about success. Sexes. Success? Success. Money. Money, money, money. Just kidding. I'm talking about sexes. Success. They don't mind talking about the strangest things. That you can hide it and morph it like just all in a day's work, right? Being a witch. Talking about Mercury and Scorpio. Now we're in Mercury and Sag. Who's going to talk about the witch? Did they open up a church? Yes, let's talk about it. Is the church real? Do we have to bomb it? Yes, of course. Set fire to everything and bring a lot of marshmallows and graham crackers and start having a barbecue. It's the best. Learn to camp out. That is, we talk about Sagittarius, that they know that camping out is a higher learning tool. It's a skill. That if you acquire that skill, it's a higher learning tool. Camping out. Camping out means you are getting into the trees and the rocks and the geology, and it begins to expand. You're in the mountains. You're in some place in Jerusalem or whatever. In some place that you don't have to be all religious. Boy, if Sagittarius can transcend it, they're like, excuse me, don't ever go inside of a library ever again. Would you just take a hike? That's what's happening. It's entertaining. It kind of trines Leo and the fire. Fire, the Aries people are going to get a little bit of a fire under their butts. But look at how it squares Saturn. If that was ever just like a hurry up and wait. Sorry, did you really think that you were going to fucking start burning up like a fire would like to burn? No, there's Saturn there in Pisces who says, we do have a lot of religious things to talk about. Let's look at this ocean of shit that has constructed the subconscious mind of man itself. We're looking at squares to Saturn by the Sagittarius planets. Right when? Oh my God. See, because as you know, of course you know, you've been listening, I am the clearest astrologer yet on YouTube. Mars has been conjunct the Sun, and then so it's continuing to conjunct the Sun. That means it's close together, kids. They're doing a little samba. And when they're both, it's like when Sun squares Saturn, Mars will square Saturn. God, imagine that idiot born right now. Whoever was born with the Mars conjunct Sun square Saturn right now, they're not really idiotic. They know something more of a lesson about, let's see, what is it? I would say they have a hyperactive mind about the knowledge of something, it would be Sagittarius. It could be religious. It could be about any knowledge. But men come into mind, men and women. Let's say the aggressive ego. Then we'll run into the Saturnian. Wait a minute, you can't do that. And as a matter of fact, you're looking ignorant compared to the more evolved, But really, no, you can't. We don't say that the squares exactly point at de-evolution. It just lights up that this person knows a little bit more about that subject matter. It's like more uncomfortably with a square than the next person with a trine, who says, "Oh well, of course," and you go this way. You don't get blindsided by not because you didn't look at it. But see, the Saturn squares with Sun and Mars people tend to have a little bit of hard lesson. It's kind of blindsiding, and do they ever learn? We don't know. It's happening in the sky, right now, and for mankind, like you'd say, the organism is having to deal with this sloshing fact of the Piscean reality that is Pisces, Saturn in Pisces. And see, Saturn was at 0 degrees. It went back from, like, it had gone all the way to 7, but now it's going back to 0, and it's starting all over again. If you haven't noticed, babes, it was a certain time. When was it? Saturn went into Pisces. It was so epic, yeah. Um, when it went into Pisces, like, I don't know if you noticed, but your friends, that was back in April, I think, or yeah, it was in April, March, April. We're pulling out of winter, and it was like time to go into this place with the subconscious minds of people, particularly, say, the ones who are struggling more. They have more subconscious unseen shit from having been abused, having been had hard, beyond their capability to control the circumstances going on in their childhood and their life, that they are wired up. They've just been, it's part of their identity, their lesson, really hard lesson that the Saturn and Pisces people have. And see, we're going through that right now to look at, on a subconscious, on a collective level, our subconscious programming, involved by, say, immersed in, by, and wired up and crystallized as what it is now, like, say, and it does involve, say, everything, religion, all the stuff that we're fed and made to believe, particularly the trauma bonding thing. I'm talking about the trauma, the subconscious wiring that happens, through the harder experiences and perhaps abuse and stuff like that. It's getting into the, like, are we being victimized, or what's going on here? That's a big issue for the individual with the Saturn and Pisces. So with, the upcoming Sagittarius planets, it's going to be rubbing all of that. And it's not a problem for Aries, the Aries people that are ready to do this work, kind of like forge through, but really, Mars square Saturn is hard. It's like a big hurry up and wait. It's a discipline. It's just discipline. It's like, no, you wait, let it accumulate, whatever it is. If it's a good thing and it's meant to be, it will be, and it'll just be that much more when you just give it a little bit more patience. But see, don't miss it, though. Don't miss the point. See, that's the problem. That would be the problem. Maybe there's too much, fear. Fear, you know. Saturn and Pisces deals with fear. Pisces deals with a lot of fear. Every sign does. But and Mars. But see, the way, there's just like two ways you can go, and if it's the fear occupation and going, oh my God, babe, this is a very irresponsible time for everybody. And it's like, please, would you guys, just go lighthearted about the old constructs that, in fact, what if they are, what I'm talking about is like the Thanksgiving holiday that has a sun square Saturn to it, and then I think it's in Christmas when there's another amazing, there's a Mercury, I think, no, it's a Mars square Neptune. Boy, is all the narcissists just going to pipe up right then. It's like an exact square with Neptune and Mars right there. And that is just auspicious, with Mercury going retrograde also involved with that square to Neptune. Um, yeah, it just reminds me of all the men that are just going to slip into being drunks, and the bad patterning that's going on with the Pluto in Capricorn. It's like, we're running the bad patterning for the last time. Everybody looking into just having to, and it's weird because some people have a bigger, like, karma with not dropping it. Can you not do that? Can you just not do that now? Instead of building the fence, try with all your might to do something different than the programming. which I can just, I mean, my latest sign, and I'm about to wrap this up, thanks, I think I'm getting more likes on the longer videos than the shorter ones. Because people want to hear, they want a continuity, they want a non-fragmented thing. They don't want, they're sick and tired of a fucking jingle and a 30-second advertisement and everything getting more, less and less comprehensible, but slapping you with suggestions and you're just being beat around. Anyway, my new sign I was going to put in my neighborhood. I mean, gosh, I mean, it's just it's a terrible sign too. Who am I? What does that do for me? Saying that, well, it's there are many signs in this neighborhood of society collapsing, or say something like this: the collapse of society. Wait, there is plenty of evidence of the collapse of society showing up in this neighborhood. I like to put some things like that to make them think. There is plenty of evidence of the collapse of society going on in this neighborhood. Just the fact that they don't know who wrote that sign, like who lives on this property or can care less, is a very, very good indication of the truth of that statement.